Our next inductee is Michael Cooper. Current OTHS Athletic Director Michael Cooper has served as an OTHS faculty member for 33 years and as head girls basketball coach for 22 years. He also served as an OTHS football coach for 19 years. His varsity girls basketball teams compiled a 410-177 record. That's 410 wins, 177 losses, which represents the most wins of any single sport in the 146-year history of OTHS. The Lady Pirates finished with 20 or more wins in 7 of the last 8 seasons that he coached. Under Coach Cooper, the Lady Pirates won 7 IHSA Regionals and 7 conference championships, with his 2008 to 2009 team finishing 26-3 and winning a regional title. He was inducted into the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2017 under the category of coach. The Illinois Athletic Directors Association Class 3A and 4A honored Michael Cooper as the Athletic Director of the Year for 2012 to 2013. He is also sincerely one of the nicest people and compassionate people that you will ever meet, and it is a true gem that we have him here at Ottawa High School, and it is my distinct honor to welcome Mr. Michael Cooper.
To be honest with you, I'm used to standing at this podium telling our athletes what they can and can't do and how to get themselves in trouble. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Kane, Dr. Cushing, Mayor Hasty, and I'd like to thank the Ottawa Educational Foundation for this wonderful event. The time and money they put into honoring the inductees is special and a night that we'll never forget. The contributions they make to the school for education and fine arts needs are incredible, and a reason why we are a step above most schools in the state. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow 2024 inductees. What a great group of people that have accomplished so many great things. What makes our Hall of Fame so special is that it's not an athletic Hall of Fame. It's an all-inclusive Hall of Fame for all the great people who have ever been involved with Ottawa High School. There's nothing in the world I like doing more than watching my son play college basketball. Thanks to Dr. Cushing, Mr. Leonard, and the wonderful administrative staff at Ottawa High School, I rarely ever miss a game, no matter where he's at in the Midwest or wherever they might be playing. He has a game tonight in Chicago, and I am here. That is how honored I am to be part of the 2024 induction class. I love Ottawa High School and everything it represents. When people come to Ottawa High, they think it's a small college. They are amazed how beautiful the courtyard is. Kingman Gym is my favorite, though, and I'm not afraid to brag about it. When the band belts out Jesus Christ Superstar, it sends shivers down my spine every time I hear it. I will put Kingman Gym up against any venue in the state. State champion music banners at one end, state athletic banners on the sides, and a decibel level other gyms only wish they could reach. I've learned a lot about the past from the many speakers who have graced this stage on a Hall of Fame night and spoke about their love for OHS. One of my most memorable stories comes when 2009 OHS Hall of Fame member R.C. Johnson, who was serving as the athletic director at the University of Memphis at the time, and he was sitting next to me. He received a phone call from John Calipari, who's the current coach at Kentucky, but he was the coach at Memphis at that time, with a question for R.C., and then he wished him good luck with the induction that night. The day of his induction ceremony was the same day Memphis was playing Tennessee at Memphis on CBS in what was the primetime game of the weekend in college basketball. I kind of turned to R.C. and said, how could you be in Ottawa, Illinois, when you were in charge of such a big national event that everybody was watching? He said, there is no way in the world I would ever miss an opportunity to come back to Ottawa High School to be honored with everything that school did for me. It was one of the many stories I hear every year about the love people have for good old OHS. Sometimes the rush of our everyday lives, we forget to take a step back and realize what a special place this is. I need to thank a few people who made this night possible. First, my wife, Tricia. She's been a saint. She was basically a single parent raising our son, and she did a great job. I'm not the easiest person to be married to. I practically live at the school most weeks. At one point in my life, I was coaching varsity football, I was the head girls basketball coach, and I was also the AD, all at the same time. That didn't leave a lot of home time. There are a lot of days I only see her right before we go to work. Some days we jokingly say, "See you tomorrow, honey," or the next day if she's in bed early before I get home. To my son Anthony, who couldn't be here tonight but loves this place, thank you for being such a good kid. When you attend school at a place in which your dad is an administrator, you are always under the microscope. I'm sure it cramped your style and messed up some things you already had planned, but you made it work. I miss the days of him running around the gym and sitting right behind me during games. Almost every regional championship and conference championship team photo has Anthony in it. A lot of them he's either holding the plaque or he's got the game net around his neck. I really need to thank my mom and dad. If they were still alive, they would be here. The number of miles they put on the car traveling from Mendota to Ottawa 2 times a week was crazy. Who I am is because of them. They taught both Mark and I what it takes to be successful, hard work and commitment, and more importantly, how to treat people the right way. Sportsmanship was always at the top of my dad's list when it came to athletics. Rarely a day goes by that I don't think to myself, how would my dad handle this? I'm sure they both have a big smile tonight wearing their Ottawa sweatshirts. To my brother Mark, I'm so fortunate that Tom Yepes ran into Mark at the Peru Mall one day and offered him a job on the spot after he had taught a year at IVC. Mark was and is a great sounding board when it comes to discussing boys basketball, girls basketball, and life in general. I was lucky that my son Anthony got to play for him. We even coached football together for several years on the sophomore level, and we both still live to talk about it. Girls basketball. I couldn't start talking about girls basketball without mentioning the general, Pete Armstrong, who was my assistant for close to 15 years. We had so much fun together to go along with winning a lot of games. Pete was always there no matter what we were doing, summer, spring, open gyms, or scouting. Pete was at it all. A special thank you to Carradine for allowing Pete to be part of my basketball life. To this day, Coach Armstrong is beloved by his former players. The last couple of years I coached, we added Gordy Kirkman, who replaced longtime sophomore coach John Personette. The laughs the 3 of us had together will never be forgotten. I would also like to thank Marty Kuhn, who was my assistant for 3 years, and also spent many years as the head freshman coach. And my other coaches, Jeff Davis, John Personette, Glenn Weatherford, Jay Stortz, Craig Mueller, Brian Hebner, Sean Porter, Mark Lawn, and Kevin Linhart for the work they did while being on my staff. The success of a program at the lower levels, and I was blessed to have great lower level coaches. The 22 years I coached girls basketball were amazing. When Tom Yepes hired me to be the coach, I told him, I said, Tom, I'll do this for 1 year, then I want to get back into the boys program. So much for 1 year. When I took over the program, I didn't have an assistant. JP would help me during varsity games. The girls had to use the boys' basketball locker room for halftime since the girls didn't have a place to call their own. They also changed in the bathroom in the hallway. Thanks to our great administration, it didn't take long for us to have the same opportunities that the boys had. We had great administrative support when I started, and we continue to have the same support these days. If you go to a girls' basketball game, you'll usually see 3 or 4 administrators at the game. Other schools can't say that. We had great players over the years, but even better parents who told their daughters to listen to the coaches and what we were trying to teach them. If I ever needed something, my parents would do it in a heartbeat. That is not always the case these days at other schools. I never had an attendance problem, especially in the summer. Most of the time, our issue was that we had too many kids showing up, which is a great problem to have. We won a lot of games because we outworked people. I challenged the girls both mentally and physically. We referred to it as MTXE, mental toughness and extra effort. I treated them just like our boys' coaches treated our boys. They loved being pushed because they knew in the end we would be successful. In the late 90s, we were starting to build momentum and wins. February 12, 1997, we played in front of the largest crowd to ever see a girls' game at Ottawa. Over 1,700 people showed up to see us win the conference championship against Dixon in a game that featured two teams ranked in the state. That was the start of a string of regional and conference championships. We were the team to beat in this area for 17 plus years, and it continues today. Along with winning, my favorite days were when we would have the team over for a team meal or celebrate Christmas at the house. Trish would spoil them like they were her daughters, and we would sit around and have good laughs. Anthony was young, and the girls were so good about including him in the activities. We developed some really good traditions over the years that we passed on from team to team. Some of those traditions are still used today with Coach Moore. To this day, when I see a former player, we always have a good laugh and talk about all the good times. I also coached football for close to 20 years. Tom Yepes was the head coach my first year, and he took me under his wing and taught me everything he could about the wing T offense. I was lucky enough to work with Dean Riley, Ralph Nelson, June Gross, Tony Morgan, and Ron Slack my first couple of years. That experience was invaluable. When Tom moved up the administrative ladder, his brother Tim Yepes took over the program. I spent the majority of my years working under Tim when he was the head coach. Tim and I became very close friends, and we won a lot of football games over those years. Winning was great, but the friendships and good times we had as a staff will never be forgotten. We still tell stories from 30 years ago, and each time we tell it, it gets funnier and funnier, and I get a bigger smile on my face. After teaching for 15 years, I took over as the athletic director, a job I always wanted since I was in high school. Vicki Grunstead was my assistant the first couple of years, and she taught me things I could never have learned otherwise. For the last 15 years, Jody Poundstone has been my assistant. She works miracles in my office, making sure everybody has what they need. Thank you to both Jody and Vicki for everything you did and continue to do. In closing, I want to thank Pirate Nation and the Ottawa community for taking a Mendota Trojan under their arms and making me feel so special. It has been a great place to work and raise a family. I'm sure I'll still be around attending as many games as possible, and hopefully still contributing to the great traditions of Ottawa High School. Thank you. Thanks, buddy.